In this lesson, we're going to talk about smart materials and smart masks inside Substance Painter. And when you are in the home screen right here, you have this button right here, which is the community asset. So if you click there, it's going to bring you to a website where you can download the community assets. So here on the left side, we have this list, and we can download all these different categories. So you have like generators or decals or materials, smart materials, and so on. So just to make an example, I'm going to go here in smart materials, and let's download, for example, here steel rust. So I'll click there, and the download should start up here on the top right, and you will find that resource in the download folder. And then we can continue to download others, like for example this, and other painting like this. So you can see that many of these, they represent damaged materials or worn out material, like paint on top of metal. And so there's a lot of different versions. So a smart material is usually composed by many layers. It's not like a simple layer of textures and effects, but it's going to contain different types of layers like dirt and defects of the material. Now you can continue here. You have also standard materials, and you can also study them to understand better when you want to create your own customized material. And then you have other stuff like atlases or decals. So sometimes they have different formats. So let's try to download this decal right here. So again, click on the download button, and that's going to go into the queue of the downloads. And let's also select this other one right here. And you also have 3D models. So in this lesson, we're going to try with some static model here in Substance 3D community assets. Now you can also search for this directly on the web. It's just a website. So for example, here I have like furniture design, industrial design, product design. You can do character design or apparel design, as we already did previously. And you have like creatures like dragons, and you have like tools, and again like industrial design products. There you go. You can see we have different types of formats. This one here is ASB SAR, and this other one is SPSM, which is this is smart material, and this is another type of format which is readable by Substance, and this is other products. So if you find something interesting here, just download it, and you can use it in your application. Now I found something pretty interesting, which is kind of a rocket somewhere. So you have also vehicles. You can do automotive design. You can prepare any of these assets for video games or 3D scenes of any sort. And you have also like furniture, like floor chair, and let me see where's the rocket right here. It's called rocket emoji, and that's the other right there. So this is a low poly model, and it's perfect to test some of the characteristics of smart materials and smart masks. So get your assets from Adobe Substance, and let's get started in Substance. I'm going to close this and also close this panel. And you can also access the resources from here. So if you click here, Substance 3D Community Assets, you will get to the same page, web page that you just saw. Now I'm going to go here in the window and reset the UI. And I'm going to go to File, New, and I will not select any template for this example. I'll just go to File, Select, and navigate in the download folder where you can see I downloaded a lot of 3D FBX. These are FBX files. So I'm going to get my rocket here and open it up. And let's just open it as it is. Now, you can use here in the import settings if you want to auto unwrap, or if you want to leave the model as it is. Now, usually the models, the professional models, they come with a good unwrapping, but sometimes this is not pretty good. So let's give a look to this asset first. So I'm going to go OK, and let's see now. Okay, so this is the rocket here on the left side in the 3D vision, and this is the UV map of this model. So if I start to paint, you can see that it's well, it's painting okay, but sometimes, you know, the if I paint up here, you can see it's also painting down there, so it's kind of not working pretty well. So you see this kind of messed up UV map right here, and also things seem to overlap, which is not really great for what you need to do. Now you can check here if there are, you know, how the other maps are organized. Also here you can see that they kind of overlap, so that's not really a good organization of the UV islands and you know, in general of the UV mapping. So what we can do before we import the model, so let's go back to File, New, Select, and let's select the rocket again. Okay, so before we open it up, what we can do is use the auto unwrap features. This is gonna help you to unwrap. Now, usually Substance does it automatically if you don't have a mapping at all, but right now we do have some messed up mapping. So we need to specify how we wanna fix this, how we wanna auto unwrap. So I'm gonna go to options, and you can see here you have all these different options. So seams, these are the connection. We already know what seams are. These will appear on the border of the island of your UV map. So you can decide if you want to generate only the missing data or you want to recompute all. If you recompute all, that's going to do it for everything. So the UV islands and the packing. So you can also set this margin size, UV island orientation. This is going to be the more optimized. Otherwise, you can align it with a 3D mesh. And also you can check the UV tiles and use a Texel density here, or you can use the default, which is this number of UV tiles. And you can check here and you can manage the number of UV tiles. So let's say okay, and let's bring the new one in. So you can see now it's doing some work on the unwrapping, and it's telling us that the UV tiles have increased. So, well, you have all the information right here. So one is larger, the minimum number is larger than the maximum number of UV tiles specified in auto unwrap options. So at least one of the UV tile is needed per material. Now let's see if things have changed. And you can see now the material is mapped a little bit better than before. So if I paint, I'm gonna have a unique UV in that position. So that's better. Now, when you do new and import, you also have these UV tile settings, which you can also like deactivate. And if you have more information for that, you can click here and check the online documentation. So I'm not going to go through this because it's kind of technical, but essentially it's going to create like a UV range for each different part of the Texas. And this is like the tile workflow. If you deactivate that, it's not going to do it. So also let's go back here to the auto unwrap options. And so if you don't want to recompute all, but leave something on, you can just generate the missing data and perhaps just recompute the islands, or just generate the missing data. Or perhaps you just want to pack the islands better. And so you can do that by generating only the missing data or just recompute the packing at all. So the margin size, again, is better to be small. And the UV island orientation perhaps is better if we rotate it freely, because it's going to occupy the space in a more optimized fashion. Now you see we don't have the UV tiles now because they are deactivated. So we cannot work with the texels or tiling. And here also you can avoid to have stretched UV islands, or you can also try to create fewer seams, so less divisions between one island and another. Okay, so let's try it again and let's see if something changes. So let's open it up, discard, and there you go. Now you can see that it's a little bit different. And always try here to see if actually things are better before or now. You can see now we don't have that tile